What's good under the hood? Is it undisturbed?
Dennis Rodman still getting his shoe wear together as the game starts.
Kurt Rambis sent him home from practice for showing up a little late again and looking for his shoes and socks.
Hard to decide which was more shocking. Dennis Rodman showing up 5 minutes early for his first game as a Dallas Maverick. Dennis Rodman starting in his first game as a Dallas Maverick.
Dennis Rodman on the opening tip just standing there. I don't think I've ever seen a center jump handled in that manner.
And Bird has landed on the court, and it's not Larry. Rodman and Aguirre going after him. They say Dennis Rodman can cover anyone or anything.
Oh, look out. Check out center court. Dog that was booed off the court. Earlier, Dennis Rodman does the honors. That's it. There's so much about Dennis.
They're imitating Dennis Rodman right now in their celebration, like what Rodman did out in Pontiac. So they're imitating him.
Crazy.
Grant Hill, good position, and Rodman's going to get called for the foul. And technical. And now Grant Hill imitates
last time.
Gotta have quick feet traveling.
He slapped him and said, "You bet."
And Malone.
And Malone's pass off the head of Rodman. McElvain.
Well, shit.
5 second delay. Listen.
Well,
And watch the left foot, and they are right. It was Dennis Rodman.
well, she.
One tap. Now watch this. Keep an eye on Rodman. Don't watch the ball. He thinks he's got two. He turns around. Cannot believe that he missed that easy shot.
Should have been mean.
This time it's Dennis Rodman, a rare basket. Just the wrong team. And he's also into a little show.
He's relieved he didn't tip that one in the basket. Three. Rebound. He can shoot. Dennis just stepped on.
Yeah, mean.
Wait a minute. Give me a look.
She.
Come here and look. I'm not out of bounds. Scott Foster says, "Oh, yeah, you're right." Missed from the field in this quarter. Antonio Davis tied it. Dennis Rodman. Rodman and Davis were dancing. There they go. Well, I have this dance for the rest of my life. I think what got Antonio Davis upset is that he wanted to lead.
Mason with a little contact with Rodman, more than a little. Sticks his hand right up under his chin.
What's going on with you and Anthony Mason? Well, we're just having a good time. You know, I asked him if he wanted to tango, but he didn't know the steps. But finest moment as a professional.
That's funny.
And Jordan fouled by Hawkins, and Rodman and Burkowski getting involved. Now, will this be considered taunting?
I was just going to say, why is that not taunting? Just a look and almost baiting Frank Burkowski to do something. Dennis has to settle down.
Cry about it.
Out their rhythm, out their game, because all they're doing now is trying to mess with me, try to get in my head. But they don't understand, though. You can't mess with the master. You can't mess with the master.
By patting Alonzo Mourning, who did not appreciate the gesture. He was not looking for the pat.
Because he knows it's not sincere.
Rodman and Brown having words on a foul call. It's on Mourning, his first.
Like I say, their chains have been pulled by Derek Garrison, the head of the officials, and whatever his fucking name is. That guy sits up there. I don't know what his fucking Thorne. David Thorne is in my ass. So.
All right, words of Dennis Rodman, who obviously isn't worth talking to tonight, right?
Well,
jeez.
You know, David Stern's got all these goddamn referees, and Derek Garrison got these referees wearing diapers. They can't fucking be mans themselves and make a call and stand up for themselves. I can't believe that.
Well, Dennis also talks about David Thorne, which I guess is a hybrid between David Stern and Rod Thorne.
Like I always said, at least if we went.
Yeah, with the literal
Will you
shit.
adjust your games if the refs call tight tonight? I'm not adjusting anything. You don't like the way I play, kick me out of the league.
Welcome back to Chicago, where in the spirit of the season, we did our holiday shopping. First of all, for Dennis Rodman, some Pampers for the NBA refs he said needed them. Also for Madonna's baby.
That's the reason why you won't fucking win, because you shoot too damn much. He's not a team player. You need to go back to school and learn how to fucking get his head together.
Profanity right there. Dennis a little fired up.
Why would you
tonight.
apologize?
Sometimes he's worth talking to. Sometimes he is not worth talking to. When you hear the F word
Shut
a couple
up,
times, he's not worth talking
white
to.
man.
Well, yeah, basically he's always worth talking to. It's just that
There you go.
for our own sake to bail on out, because it's very interesting.
Ah, there's the elder putting it in
Dennis, but at times
more
there's certain
Ibanic
conditions, right?
understandings.
Type of, adjectives that go along with it. Exactly. Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, we don't need the clan hood for none of this, you know what I mean? We can cover Dennis without going into racism blatantly.
You're looking good tonight, Dennis. Well, no one said that I'm a loser.
How can you tell me you guys aren't celebrating in there?
Hell no, we're ready to get the hell out of here. You know, cheeseheads and all. So let's pack our bags and go home and have a couple cigars. And some guys gonna make love to their wives and some guys not.
SportsCenter did not follow up on that last comment.
One thing that I remember is and just do his thing, you know.
Jordan ties it.
Check that out. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's waterproof color right there. That's waterproof. Want Rodman back?
Sure.
His dresses doesn't bother me. His hair doesn't bother me. Sure, I mean, he's gonna go wacko every now and then. To his credit, he's doing a good
Wacko,
job
damn,
of
John.
mentally focusing
Disrespectful.
himself not to be too much of a diversion. Not to say he wasn't a little bit. Or even Dennis.
Okay.
With all the different colors that he may wear in his hair or his dresses or whatever.
Okay, guy. Like you can tell, like the homophobia was rampant back in the day.
Dennis Rodman managing to fit the Spurs timeout huddle.
Which you gotta respect.
I'm just not listening to what's going on. I'm right there. With my shoes off, I'm right there. Why aren't you listening to what's going on? Because basically, I just know what the hell he's going to say or what the situation's going to be. So basically, I'm right there. Who said I don't listen? The media's really blowing it out of proportion. I listen. You just said that you don't really listen to what he's saying because you know what he's going to say. I'm listening. That means that I'm paying. It's like saying if I'm standing up in a huddle, do I have to look him directly in the eye to listen? Mm-hmm. No, I don't. You like playing for Bob Hill? I'll play for anybody as long as that they respect me. Point blank, do you like playing for Bob Hill? I have no problem with Bob Hill. I don't hate Bob Hill at all. I have no problem. I will play for him.
How can one guy bring this pyramid, this kingdom, Caesar?
Dennis Rodman has a wet mouth, doesn't he?
How can you do that? Ain't no way in hell. He's got all his Romans right there trying to spear me in the back, as much as he can, and say, okay, great, you do it again, we're going to feed you to the lions. And those lions are those three damn referees with the striped shirts with the whistle in their mouth. Okay, so that's basically what it is.
Other than mixing the lions with the zebras, that was an excellent metaphor.
Okay.
Extended out there pretty well.
Not as dumb as people think I am. That's okay.
He wasn't complimenting you, Dennis.
What year is it, 2003? No, seriously.
Michael, you knew, and people's like, oh, God. When you get that ball, Michael's saying, oh, my God, of course, yeah, he's God. yeah, he's all that.
I think Chuck he's like I said, I call him G.O.D. God, and he's a great individual, and his system really screwed him over the years, and I'm grateful that Chuck has the opportunity to get his number out.
Only Dennis Rodman. I don't see the system as having screwed you somehow with your limo.
Why would you immediately...
By the way, nice look. Did you get a shot of this? That doesn't look
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay.
The media did definitely have, like, an agenda with fucking...
You didn't show up for the shoot-around today.
Dennis.
Sorry, Scotty.
86 to 91. I think if we could have had sex with each other, I think we probably would have did that. That's how close we were.
Dennis would squeeze your butt. And for 3 quarters, you'd be looking at this guy like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah, I think Rick Mahorn taught me that.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
David Stein.
He pat it. He didn't squeeze it. Weirdo. You'd like him to squeeze it, maybe.
How well do you know Madonna? Okay. Well, that's what I'm asking.
What's being a father been like for you, the responsibilities there?
Well, either way, you got to pay for them. So it doesn't really matter.
You gotta keep working.
Got to keep working to pay for those damn bastards.
Dennis already said he'd play for free, so it's not an issue. He makes more money off the court, supposedly. I don't know.
They say this is a family show, right?
Like, Jordan's a hater, man.
I'd like to say thank you to all the people that's been a part of this organization for accepting me. And, it's been a wild, fucking crazy ride. I've always told myself I'll never, ever get married, right? I'll never ever have a wife. If I had to marry anybody, it'd be these 12 guys right here.
No question he's a nitwit.
Charles is Charles. I heard Charles call me a nitwit one day, the other day. That's great, Charles. That's fine. Way to go, baby.
You can come to a party in March. I'll arrange for it.
Can I have a party in your pants?
In my pants?
Yeah.
What happened between you and Patrick Ewing? You got upset with him?
No,
But you kept it under control. You didn't kick him in the nuts or anything.
I don't kick him in the balls. His balls about all of that small. But
And you're a big pussy like Will Chamberlain. Is that what you're saying?
He's a big pussy. But you know what? I'm glad he don't have one because I've been there jabbing left or right.
Patrick is a pussy, right?
Damn.
Of course. No, Patrick's not a pussy. He just not well endowed.
Right. You've seen him nude? You've seen him nude,
I haven't
seriously?
seen him nude. He don't come all the way.
In his first 6 years as leader, he ordered the executions of at least 340 people. The deputy premier for education was killed in front of a firing squad.
Listen to this dumb bitch.
Disrespectful posture in a meeting. A general fell asleep
Listen to her.
was executed with an anti-aircraft gun. Kim Jong-un's estranged brother was killed by chemical weapons, which was caught on tape. Kim Jong-un is guilty of
Oh my God.
enslavement, torture,
What you got to
rape,
say
forced
about that,
abortions, knowingly
Dennis?
causing prolonged starvation, and so on. So,
That's
for
your
some
homie.
context, that's the guy you're calling a great guy.
Are you done? Are you done?
Was it like true that Dennis wasn't?
Yeah, like,
That's true.
like Dennis is a saint.
What transpired?
I don't know. He's not here.
With Godzilla in the house, there will be no stopping.
Just assuming that everybody has the same fucking moral compass.
Let's go.
Yeah, and he likes the Chicago Bulls.
We gotta try to sneak him out gate 3.5.
You know what I mean?
While
Old school
300
Bulls
media are
fan.
in the main hallway in front of the locker room.
The dictator. He just tried to drag through the mud. Look at Dennis.
You going wrestling tomorrow?
I'm not wrestling tomorrow. I'm gonna go out and
Have a good time. All right, let's go over to Michael Jordan, who's with him on
Jim Gray. Devil incarnate.
Give me $20 to pay for my fine. Sound like a bribe. That's what I'm saying. He must want to interview. He wants something.
As for his behavior after serving that 2-game suspension, Rodman says he will try to keep his cool, but he stopped short of guaranteeing it. Vern?
On this reaction channel, you're gonna get the pessimistic approach, but at the same time, it's gonna be like all you ever wished for. You know what I mean? In terms of like the content, but it's not gonna be the lovey-dovey approach. Like, hey, community, let's be communal.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Dennis. Let's go back to Vern.
Are any of us surprised that Dennis Rodman knew exactly how many points Shaquille had?
Yes. So he can do other things besides foul Dennis Rodman. Now look at Dennis. Dennis is staying down here at the other end. Bubba Wells is going to get him, and he just fouled him. And Nelly is telling him, foul him, and they won't call it. And he's holding Dennis right now. He's got both arms around him. It's a foul. Dennis is looking back.
Soft as foul.
Phil's laughing. Now he made them both. Look at Nelly's like, hey, what do you want me to do? Let's see if he just grabs Dennis right away. Bubba's waiting for him to come in bounds, and he fouls him. Dennis is still standing out of bounds, and Tommy Nunez still called the foul. Dennis said, wait a minute, I'm not on the floor, Tommy.
He will be back up at that free throw line again. And
Why was he so softly fouling the dude?
Here we go again. There's the foul. Dennis makes that one. There you go. Shooters on the other side. They were going to swing it around.
Heck of Dennis. Heck of menace.
Right away. Yeah, he was saying go get him. He fouls Dennis Rodman. No shot by Michael.
That is an NBA record.
Who's that, Wells?
3 minutes played by Bubba Wells. There, all over Bubba Wells. You did your job. You went in and fouled, Bubba. Now the
Bubba Wells.
nuts if he makes these.
Them both.
How about that?
This year, Dennis got a technical for blowing a kiss in Don Nelson's direction in the game between the Lakers and Mavs. Fans love it as he hits it.
You got a flagrant 1, which is 2 shots, and then a flagrant 2, which is 2 shots in the ball.
Gotta learn to kind of audible my thoughts.
He's tossed him out of here. He gave him a flagrant 2.
And controlled by Isaiah. Right side, he'll go right to left. His pass gets away. Here's a fight as Rodman wants to go after Stockton. Jerry Sloan leaped up off the bench, and he was moving quicker than he ever did when he played.
What Jerry Sloan doing, man? I don't like the huffing and puffing that these NBA coaches do. It's so theatrical, like, at this point. Like, when I see Steve Kerr, because I don't really watch New Age basketball, but when I watch a clip of Steve Kerr, like, flipping out on the sideline, I cringe a little bit, because to me, Steve Kerr was a player, and maybe some, I don't know what, president of basketball operations of the Phoenix Suns or something, general manager, who knows what he was. Like, that's the most NBA on TNT commentator, like, that's, I mean, not head coach, trying to intimidate referees, having fits of rage, I don't know, that just goes with the job, I guess. You're not a head coach if you don't throw a fit on the sideline. But it's kind of, you know what I mean, like Michael Jackson breaking down, or James Brown breaking down on stage.
What is Rodman
You know what I mean?
writing a message on
It's part of the act.
Rodman has a play for Lucas.
Oh, Michael and his brothers. We gotta watch some video collage of the Jackson 5 where Michael Jackson's like, have you seen my child alive? Breaking down.
I talked to my sister the other day. She said, hey, you don't grab nobody from the back like that. You grab them from the front.
Brian Hill walking out towards Dennis Rodman.
John Lucas.
Richie Adubato protecting Brian.
Probably one of the better crackheads that ever played this game.
The lane violation called this year.
And Dennis faked that time. I don't know if you saw Dennis fake. He threw the foot out.
One of the better point guards of the 80s. And a crackhead.
That was just a challenge to see if they'd call it again.
Michael Smith is still talking to him. Look at Dennis. Look at Dennis saying, well, if it was me. You know what? We ought to get a picture of that. How often has Dennis had the same thing done to him by somebody else?
Rebound, Dennis Rodman had it blocked by Seth. Call it now. Yeah, he wants him to call it. Come on, call it now.
Jack Nees is laughing. And whoa, Steve Javy got
I love old school NBA though.
the official Steve Javy was about to call the foul.
Watch him dive after the loose ball and pick up a referee.
We probably have the most compilations that we ever had, you know what I mean, that we can watch stuff. But realistically, I don't think that all these games are like on YouTube like they were. Because they once were. And at one point in my life, I was actually watching these games.
And he didn't like it. Rodman again able to keep it alive.
Since I wasn't watching them live.
And could not. And then applauds the official, Scott Foster. Rodman tries to lose the rebound and he's sandwiched on the play.
You know, once I tuned into a game, I was hyped because I don't know, I think it must have been like during the week, like on school day. Maybe it fell on like some type of holiday. And I got to stay up and watch Minnesota against Utah Jazz. In the first quarter, pretty much like in the beginning stages of the game, Karl Malone and Kevin Garnett got into it and got both the jacket. So now I was watching some role players. So that's pretty much like how watching live NBA went as a kid.
Then he pulled it halfway back out right away.
You know I'm old when I'm telling you about Malone and Garnett.
There's a lot of things I don't say. Most of the time, though, I see the shit you.
I remember when Garnett's nickname was the Kid.
This is 4 times in like, what, 2 weeks? Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Technical foul, Rodman.
And Alonzo Mourning, for example, was like was talked about as like a spoiled superstar, you know what I mean? Signing big contracts, putting teams really out, really paying players, and maybe, you know what I mean? And one player takes all the budget.
I shouldn't use my hands. You got to see this. This is unbelievable. Rodman has his hands in his shorts right now, and this is how he.
That's my shit.
Now this has gone from the ridiculous to the sublime. Dennis just saying, all right, I'm going to keep calling fouls. Well, I'm just going to put my hands in here and just mind my own business.
I'm the type of old school fan. I watched Magic Johnson. I think he was, where did he play? Denmark or something? Like he signed on some European team. He played a bunch of games. That must have been 2000 maybe or something, you know what I mean? Like Magic was still trying to play for it. But niggas went, ew.
They pick up a tee?
2 games. Well, that's part of the unpredictability of this team. They sure have some good moments. Technical on Rodman. Rodman wanted an illegal defense. That's what he's upset about it. He's still talking about it.
Rodman sits and he's gone. Rodman's gone. He sits down in the lane as if to say this is where the man was positioned, and Dennis Rodman has been tossed at second game with the Mavericks.
I don't like how fucking Dick Nowitzki talks about Dennis Dent with the Dallas. Well, even the fucking Shaq. Was he taking it serious? No, but still, like, you don't even know your fucking defensive scheme, still collecting 20 boards, you know what I mean?
No, not me, right?
You don't have to bond with you bums. Newcomer. Didn't work out basketball-wise. Of course it's not gonna work out. Did you really give it a shot? Or did you fucking hire this dude as like some marketing stunt?
Rodman's upset. He should be.
Trying to sell tickets.
Has been called on Dennis Rodman, and Longley trying to keep Rodman away. Yeah, you don't need it, Dennis. You got to stay in this game. Javy,
along with 27 points. Offensive foul on Rodman. That is his 3rd.
And a lot of people may be surprised. There we have a technical foul on Dennis Rodman.
Steve Javy calling the technical, did not like the response from Rodman.
Dennis Rodman was the one who complained about a big cutout of himself underneath the basket that this fan was waving around. He told Dick.
That's kind of, yeah, that's weird that he would do that, man.
And the fan
complained about a cutout and got the fucking fan removed. That's very new agey of him.
That's why he lost it, Dennis.
Jess Kersey and Dennis have been laughing at each other all night long. Jess says, you grabbed his shorts. You loves the official.
Fraternizing. Then there was a clip of George Karl on ESPN. They had a little documentary, man, with like a bunch of audio clips of players and coaches fraternizing with the referees. And even like up to like the Dim Donaghy like scandal, you know what I mean? That was kind of playing into that also. George Karl was going in, man.
Okay, Dennis, you're suspended, and for headbutting a referee and other.
He said like there should be like refs should face consequences for fraternizing, and even players and coaches, man. How much he dislikes it and how much it's done. And one of the main arbiters of this.
You can almost see dollar bills floating around there.
Luke, can you go over and help this guy get up or something?
One of the guys that kind of took advantage of that was George.
And the guy suddenly got, falsetto.
One clip where this ref is like trying to like get the approval of fucking Jordan. Like, I believe you, Mike. If you said it, I believe you. Like he's going all in, like lazy. Like that type of shit needs to be cut out.
It wasn't a groin. If you look at
The favoritism, I understand. You know what I mean? Like players get the whistle, like they earned it over the career. But at the same time, not for the sake of the win. You know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous. Like at that point, it's just fixed.
Inside the lob, Strickland missed it.
But George Karl, that was a really great little segment, man. And it's not on YouTube anymore. I can't find that shit.
Dennis Rodman ended up with the photographer.
Basically, like George Karl versus the NBA refs.
Dennis patted the one guy in the head and walked away. Just looks down and smiles.
Dennis Rodman being very polite to the courtside cameraman who was in his way, it should be noted, as he inbounded the ball.
Se disculpa con el fotógrafo.
Sí, porque la broma la anterior broma. And the rebound pulled down, and Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, we love Dennis in every language, man.
He hits the ball and he's hollering at the photographer. He's mad at that guy.
There's no
What happened?
xenophobia with basketball. Love for basketball. We appreciate.
Well, the announcers weren't the only ones with trouble. Watch what happens to this guy with the microphone.
I could be like spinning tales of Henning Harnish. You know, hanging Harnish. But the reality is,
Make sure they're okay. Uses the towel a little bit.
Looks like Johnny Kerr is calling for it, and then he alertly finds.
the reality is I was more of a Bendler Lexus guy.
I caught it. Yeah. Okay, I had good hands. Couldn't score, but I had good hands.
Because Rodman definitely. Yeah. Lift your foot, Dennis. Dennis, lift your foot.
Bob Costas and Dennis Rodman, they are now soulmates. So I guess you know him a little better than now, Humbug.
I took a hit, buddy. I'll tell you that.
I saved you. I caught a split. It was coming right for your head.
Some sort of real bond is developing. He can't stay away from me.
Almost as much a tradition as Chicago. Uh-oh, look out. What happened to our cameraman? What happened to our camera guy? He got mugged. Oh.
Rodman into the seats once again, sits on someone's drink. His pants are all wet, but he still wants to play while he dries off. Get back, Pippen for three. Rodman with the save, but he stepped out. Dennis saying, so have you read my book?
Foul is on Dennis Rodman.
Meh.
Might have to be thrown away. The rim is all dented and everything. Jack Haley jumps on top of his back. You keep him away from the official.
He didn't start. He came in, got a standing ovation from the crowd in Denver, and even had some fun with the mascot, Rocky.
Rodman dressed for the occasion. Yes, it's Halloween. He did have a mask on.
The Bulls going for win number 69 on the season in Cleveland.
Not much celebrating in the Bulls locker room following the game, except for an animated Dennis Rodman, who modeled some new headgear for the occasion.
Archer tipped up and Rodman there, but a foul.
That's as far as it really goes with like the
Head with the ball. Oh, that's elite. Yeah.
48%.
extravagance of Dennis Rodman. That's like, especially like outside of the court.
Throw shooting. The other night, 7 of 10, not able to hit.
Headwear. Oh, he's sporting some new hat.
On the shot clock.
Oh yeah, new haircut. Like it's not that outrageous realistically.
He ended up dancing.
See the guy like on heroin pre-game, you know what I mean? And stand where like all this, you know, the pearl clutching come from. And I guess for the time, that's what they're saying. For the time, realistically, when there was the 70s, we're just gonna ignore that. Yeah. Girls liked him. He wore crazy stuff. That's as far as it goes. Have you ever heard him like on David Letterman, Jay Leno? Like I remember watching him on Jay Leno. Or was it Letterman? Anyway. It was a big thing that he was there. That's as far as it goes, you know what I mean? Maybe a wrestler comes in and he tackles him. Like I like that Dennis was with the wrestling, so he did the best he could to market himself, realistically. But was he really enigmatic in his personality? He wasn't. Whatever the PR was behind it, or let's give him credit at least for that, you know what I mean? That he had enough genius in him to reinvent himself, man, and market the fuck out of himself, you know what I mean? Mingle, make new connections, man, and became a fucking new age Jimi Hendrix. Like he did have that little flavor, but over times past, he definitely sold that well, without necessarily being, like I said, like he wasn't a great interview, basically, you know? As aren't like many, you know what I mean? Like Charles Barkley is a real outlier, and even him, like over the years, he's become repetitive and kind of played out. When he was young, he was definitely for a basketball player too, because that jock thing. It's not easy to be the most likable guy being a jock, you know? If you not completely stick to the playbook that's been laid out by your agent and the league and whatever they want you to like portray. You know, satisfying sponsors and such.
Let's see if he makes it. That's what you gotta love. He steps up now. That's what I like. That's what I like.
That was a spot where Magic Johnson smiling and laughing and shit is seen as like he's lighting the world on fire type of deal. Like, oh my god, can you believe such a personality? Ever heard Howard Stern show make fun of Magic Johnson having his own show? Trying to be a talk show host and shit after his career? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, white America doesn't, like, they just would give you that much of a leeway, especially as like an athlete, kind of moonlighting as an entertainer or whatever. Like the jokes, I don't know, man, you just laughing is not gonna make you charismatic somehow. That went well with like all the broadcasting guys basically holding your hand throughout like sports interviews and making you look good while you not know that they're making you look good. You even copying attitudes. Like, do you know? I mean, we're probably in a time now where that's not as much of an issue anymore. But fucking the media is in extreme cuddle mode. But back in the day, you can already tell the way they were covering Dennis here. They're different with it, you know what I mean?
Why didn't you just get the point? In your dreams.
There's also like this thing on YouTube, Michael Spinks countdown to the Mike Tyson fight. And they're covering basically the chance of Spinks. And they're like in a bar, a bunch of sports writers and journalists, trainers, and they're like having this little sports segment on the fight. And it's hilarious, honestly. Like they're outright disrespectful to Mike Tyson and Spinks, really. Especially Tyson. Really playing the athletes out that they're covering and that they're gonna make a bunch of money off, you know what I mean? Like that was at the time like the highest paid, or the biggest fight ever, whatever. And these old men and shit. Even the trainers that are in the spot, they're sitting there fraternizing, you know what I mean? Pretty much like trivializing like real life obstacles or, you know, things that these fighters had to overcome until first bell, basically. Like the way they were covering the shit, it was too funny, man. Having callers call in that were being disrespectful. Hilarious, honestly, the coverage.
took a poke in the head.
Always has to have
That shit wouldn't be able. You wouldn't be like. There's too much social climbing going on, man. You can't be able to really Larry Merchant it up. You know what I mean? Tell it like it is, like how Cosell said. This was his quote. Or his motto. Yeah. The time has passed now. And it's big time Cardinal mode, man. Clutch spotting it up. But we don't want to just put it on that, right? That has been kind of. There's always, you know, a generation before that, or the generation before the generation before that. That kind of ushers this shit in. LeBron wouldn't be possible without a Jordan, but that's something that niggas don't want to kind of. I don't know. You know what I mean? They want to go all out with, hey, remember when LeBron failed? Yeah, okay, guy. Like, are you watching full Michael Jordan games? Is my question to you, bro. Like, eventually, that youthful exuberance of, like, wanting to know, that's pretty much dying. Like, that's not a thing anymore. But when we were young, yeah. Eventually, that shit dies off, man. Even nostalgia, if you're prone to it, like, does it really carry the same effect? I'm saying, man. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan flying with his tongue out. I hear ya.
He's usually in double digits. Rodman looking for his 7th rebounding title. Morning from Murdoch in a foul.
Go back further, I'm saying. You know what I mean? If you really love the game like that, let's get a George Mikan highlight. Not even a highlight. Let's watch a full George Mikan game. And jerk off to it. Get going with it.
What he felt was a phantom foul, and he gets in Malone's face, prompting
That's the real
technical foul, which got him ejected, and on his way out
hardcore fan take. Nah, you gotta go back, bro. George Mikan and them. You know what I mean? I wonder Mikan drill in my head when I'm trying to go to sleep. That's how much of a basketball fan I am. It goes with every sport, right? Like that. You're trying to kind of be more.
A technical foul on John Starks.
Oh, the intricacies. Oh yeah, the rating, the PRE rating, and okay, guy. Make a bucket.
Chatting away with him, trying to incite a response out of John, which he gets initially. Rodman keeps chatting, and Rodman followed him at the other end.
It's so unimpressive to me, like listening to youngins speak, that I can't even like pretend to. I can't like mimic it. You know what I mean? That might be also not my talent, but also like it's very uninteresting.
Rebound out of bounds will go to the Bull.
Picture.
Dennis and P.J. Brown walking side by side.
Terry and Rodman with a good battle going on. Rodman chased him all over the gym.
Danny Ferry, man.
Separated here. Rodman just fouled
Good or racist.
Ferry as Ferry walks away.
Remember when Marcus Camby tried to punch him? And headbutted Jeff Van Gundy?
And now Dudley's got him. Double and that'll be a foul. He said he grabbed my arm. That's why I couldn't get out of it. And they're right at it again. Same thing.
Look at the topical and Rodman. And a big fella at 280 is going to hang his ground with the Worm.
Yeah, Worm is strong, but he's not this strong. I mean, watch the kid shake him off. Look, he can't do anything with Patopico.
According to Rodman before the game, he said the Lakers only fined him 3.
Can't do anything with him, is way smaller, so why the fuck are we hyping Potapenko?
And you can see it right there. What did I do? Well, you just grabbed my arms, you pulled my shorts up, and I'm getting sick of you.
Taking each other to the floor. So much for Dennis Rodman not picking up at least one technical foul here.
And of course he continues to taunt.
That's kind of pussy, I gotta say.
Trying to get him to react.
In the midst of all the byplay,
Why was Alonso? It's not the smartest thing either, like to start buckling like that when a guy is on top of you. Try to take him down and get taken down.
And I'm getting sick of you. And I'm getting sick of
He looks for the call or the ref save you. what? Why this now? Because he feels.
So much for Dennis Rodman not picking up at least one technical foul here.
Man, morning, man. He was such a hissy fitting guy. Always on the verge of a hissy fit. Nothing like intimidating about it, neither. Like, he's the most muscly guy out there, but looking unbalanced and goofy.
Dennis Rodman just trying to grab onto Shaq and maybe instigate a little bit with the grab, and he did what he wanted to do. He got Shaq to react with a push.
Huh?
Chicago had a foul to give. Utah ball from the side, still plenty of time. 6.9.
That's all you had up front.
As hard as he could off Dennis Rodman. I'm sure if he had the opportunity again, he'd throw it even higher if he could.
He had a very sincere pat from Dennis Rodman.
Is he on the Celtics here? Bukowski, man. Yeah, man. Nemesis on Seattle in the finals.
And Rodman milks the moment.
And a technical against Larry Johnson. So one technical foul. Yeah. Larry Johnson.
There's so many wannabe boxers. Yeah, he was good with his hands.
Rodman knows that he fouled out. He definitely fouled him. And what happens is Oakley pops him in the back. He pops Rodman in the back.
Jordan wants to get Rodman away. Yeah. But Rodman, his history is that he won't fight. No.
It fucks with niggas like Charles Oakley. If you're not intimidated, you gotta start making up stories in retirement. I slapped this guy, I slapped that guy.
Laettner doesn't want any part of Dennis Rodman. He doesn't want to.
And we have a whistle stopping the clock with 57.2. The foul will come on Chucky Brown. That will be his second.
Boy, ball would just not surrender.
The Miami Heat don't run more.
He did not.
The most white reaction to something like that. Respect to him for being like this feisty terrier type. But at the same time, like, god damn it, and throwing a ball at a guy while not expecting repercussions is crazy. Not a hissy fit like these rage monsters.
The Miami Heat don't run more.
And what else, bro? What else? What do you expect else? Dennis didn't even jump him, you know what I mean? There was his own little panic reflex. I see your hand. But I see your hand.
Certainly a guy who enjoys the circus atmosphere that he has created.
It looked like that contest they play where you got to grab the seat when the music stops. Look at there. Dennis got his. Musical chairs, yeah.
Ewing for Starks. What an exchange! And Ewing is fouled. Rodman applauding it.
An appreciative applause.
I was kind of a Ewing fan when I was a kid.
And Ewing is kind of like the prize fighter. Says, hit me again.
Plays with a smile, and he got a smile out of Patrick Ewing, who doesn't often smile with his opponents.
Off Rodman's foot.
Oops.
And that foul, Anthony.
Robert Horry scoops it. Bad shot. Rodman lost it out of bounds.
Trying to get the ball into Olajuwon, and Ori didn't have the angle, so he decided to go on his own. And now Rodman's saying the ball.
I want youngins to know something.
And that's what Bill Oakes is.
You're probably 25 calling yourself a youngin, right? You know, at 18, 19, men back in the day were thought of as just adults, man. They went to war, started their families. I mean, you do start families at that age. But are you really the head of the family type of deal?
Rodman drills a 20-footer and gives it that go-figure gesture.
Now remember, in game 2 in here, he hit that same shot to tie the game. This one brings him to within 1.
And a technical.
Well, Rodman gets one of those every now and then just to feel normal.
The word normal, in association with Dennis Rodman, has never been used.
Feel comfortable. How about that?
What's with Jordan, bro? He's all abrasive with Rodman.
Control and poise. Settle down, big fella.
Dennis Rodman just went up to Scotty and said, hey, Scotty, you have to calm down a little bit.
That captures Dennis. That is his personal Christmas card. Happy holidays.
Shaking his head. Go home
Well, the officials do a nice job when they... Mother's Day.
Jordan forgets that Dennis was champ before him.
a couple of elbows here and a couple of punches there, you know, you never know what might happen. Look at me that I'm a time bomb waiting to go off. But they don't understand something. I'm a lot smarter. I'm one step beyond.
The league's resident enigmas.
What's up, I kept Dennis Rodman on our team and trade. I looked much deeper than the color of his hair.
All right, now to the wonderful world of Worm. Dennis Rodman has full throttle going again this week, and the league caught him in the act. It happened back on Wednesday, and another loss to the Jazz. 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Rodman going out of his way to foul John.
They love covering him, though. Then they act all apart. Oh my goodness, yeah. Outrageous language there from. But reality. They're working on a semi.
Stockton, and then it gets strange. Rodman, during the discussion, makes contact with his head. The league on Friday issued an automatic one-game suspension for what they called the headbutt, fined Rodman $5,000, but Dennis proclaimed his innocence later, saying this worm is being baited by the NBA.
Why they pick it on me? You know, I really don't care, you know. And I don't live for the NBA. I don't kiss nobody's ass. I did not headbutt Stockton at all. That's bullshit. I admit to something, but I didn't do that. You know, I went up there and talked to him, but I did not headbutt. I think if I would have headbutt Stockton, I think I would have been thrown out right there. You know, I did not do it. People look, and for some reason, they're looking at something that I do to, you know, to really piss me off. But it's not gonna piss me off. I'm gonna smile, you know, and keep right on going. And they want to keep screwing me. Hey, go ahead and do it.
So there you have it.
And Dennis Rodman is off the costume design committee. He's had enough of the politicking.
Still, the Bulls were up by 10 at the half. Then it got a little ugly here. Scramble for a loose ball. Hill, Dennis Rodman. Rodman kind of flings him to the floor. Look at Hill get up and do some shoving there. Hey, got to make a statement, I guess. But Rodman is going to have the last laugh after a double technical on that play. He's guarding Hill here and a little short. Grant on that jumper. But wait, Dennis isn't finished with the mind games. He comes back. Dennis Rodman for three. And that's how it's done. He knocks down the three ball. And the Bulls are a winner 103-88. They have beaten Detroit now in 19 straight games over 4 seasons. CNNSI's Laura Oakman has more on this one from Chicago.
The Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons may be the two winningest teams in the Eastern Conference Central Division, but the disparity between the two
Listen to you, little girl.
Considering Chicago has now beat Detroit their last 19 meetings. The last time Detroit beat Chicago, you'd have to go back to March of '93 when Grant Hill was a junior at Duke.
We haven't beaten them in a long time, so you know, we can't hang our heads low. We just got to keep our heads up. We fought hard. We got down the first quarter, and you know, we got to bounce back.
A little further than he wants to be, and whenever Shaq's in too deep, they foul him. And Shaq had a horrendous day at the free throw line. He was
That's how Red has sounded a lot out in his career. Kind of apologetic. Kind of feel bad for the guy, no? Once he was with like winning teams, he was not himself anymore.
Look at what he did to his head with the ball. Oh, that's late, yeah. All right, so Bulls with 119 up here. They've got
Dennis.
One winning team, actually.
Here comes Dennis. Doesn't look like he wants to talk to anyone right now. Oh, wow.
Damn.
An unbelievably poor display right here. Someone threw Coke in Dennis Rodman's face. Wow. Dennis Rodman being distrained right now by some of his people that work with him. I don't think, Dennis, we really want to hear what he's saying right now because this is not nice. Folks, we're going to have a ton of coverage here in this postgame. Every single thing will be uncovered. We're going to talk to Dennis. We'll talk to Michael. We'll do everything, and we'll do it the right way. Folks, it's going to be a lot of fun here. Hopefully, things will get a lot better than this scene we just saw right here. But now let's go back to chat.
I just kicked the camera and he decided he didn't want to film anymore, and he thought that his back and neck and
Dennis talked it well.
And things like that was bothering him. So, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get some papers next time I go.
This team in absolute tatters. Detroit has lost 6 straight. Meanwhile, ex-Piston star Dennis Rodman continues to find trouble. Isn't it common sense that if you make millions of dollars a year and your job is contingent upon staying in good physical condition, you wouldn't go skiing, snowmobiling, or ride motorcycles? Not to Rodman, who suffered a separated shoulder in a motorcycle accident on Sunday. He'll be lost for a minimum of 2 to 4 weeks.
You know, I apologize. This happens. Accidents.
They all sound like parents, man. I think that's white disease, yo. Trying to be a guardian.
Period. So, they understand that.
They beat Seattle without Rodman last night at home, but this isn't the same as being in a car. Cars are a necessity of life, not motorcycles. Cars have seat belts, not motorcycles.
Let's be realistic, man. You might say, yeah, that's what they're getting paid for. And why are you putting it on race? This is a newscaster acting like a newscaster. Like the normal white human being doesn't think like that. Like the law-abiding type that thinks of police like as the friend and helper and type. These types, they're the same as this newscaster, talking like from all uppity. Same ways. That's also white disease. Deny. Very devious.
Bob Hill didn't need Dennis Rodman after the forward ignored a team huddle on Friday night.
Wasn't frustrated at all. I'm not sad or nothing. No. I was going to play him had I needed him, and maybe he would have saved the day had I needed him. I don't know, but you know, if I don't play him and we lose, then I have to accept that responsibility too, and I was prepared to do
Put
that.
on a shirt, guys.
Dennis Rodman hit the other end of the basketball spectrum, suspended without pay. Rodman was ejected after tossing an ice bag during San Antonio's last preseason game Monday night. The team says he'll miss the regular season opener Friday against Golden State.
Dennis Rodman's season took another strange twist today. About 6:30 this morning, someone who lives with Rodman called the Auburn Hills, Michigan police saying Rodman had left home and that he was concerned for Dennis's safety. Police officers went to the Palace in Auburn Hills and found Rodman working out on the court. Certainly an unscheduled workout for the Piston forward, currently out of the lineup with a calf injury. It's the latest in a weird season for Rodman, who struggled through a divorce and then an early season holdout before the injury. According to the chief of police, there was no evidence Rodman tried to harm himself. He was obviously emotionally troubled, though, and indicated that he planned to seek psychiatric treatment. Head coach Ron Rothstein sees a pattern in Rodman's behavior.
Dennis, when he was healthy and playing, seemed to put his life in order. And then when he got hurt, it seemed to regress a little bit again.
The Dennis Rodman situation in Detroit. A friend calls police because Rodman isn't home in the middle of the night and a rifle is missing from the house. Rodman is found working out at the Palace around 6 o'clock in the morning Thursday. The rifle was in his truck. He was taken to a psychiatrist.
Man, shut up, shut up. So reckless to be reporting this shit. Look, this is our granddaddy, Uncle Ernie.
Director Matt Dobek says the whole thing's being overblown by people who don't know Rodman as well as he does.
Be without the Bulls, especially after their resident bad boy just came back. Is Dennis Rodman stretched too thin? How does Michael Jordan figure in this issue?
Like he doesn't have family, you know?
This week in the NBA.
Well, with the rifle.
Well, some say maybe the best hope for the opposition is maybe the Bulls will beat themselves.
Then again, why is Dennis such a fucking attention whore, bro? It's also annoying after a while. Something you won't allow yourself, I guess, to feel when you're a young man.
In fact, last night they took
trying to look up to someone.
Rodman again. Would he behave? Well, watch off the Glenn Rice miss. Long rebound, always in position. One of 23 he would snag on the night. Watch Rodman banging down low. Hard fall, near scuffle. He keeps his cool. No harm, no foul. Rodman is on. He can control an opponent and, of course, the boards, but his performances have been spotty this season. Yeah. Do you think at age 35 you...
I'm pretty much sure the guy on the right is one of those.
But I think a lot of it has been maybe what Michael Jordan has said.
Maybe not quite as focused. Let me see the name.
But Michael is very good at keeping everybody focused, saying whatever it takes to make them play a better game.
Will he listen? Have they actually discussed things?
Well, this is going to be the ultimate test of Jordan's influence, because Jordan has tried to talk to Rodman. He was worried about Rodman's focus long before that tirade last week. But Rodman really hasn't been very receptive to those talks. That's why you've seen Jordan come out and say some things in the press, kind of trying to challenge Rodman to get that intensity back that he had last year. It's anybody's guess, really, as to whether Jordan's going to be able to get Rodman back on the right track. But I know that there are a lot of teams around the league who are hoping that Jordan won't be able to do it.
Bulls try to come back. Rodman, though, is called for charging.
I think it's funny how much...
Got one technical on him. Mike Mathis over there.
I think Jordan enjoyed the attention being... Like, he likes being part of the picture, but more in this... I'm reining him in. You know what I mean? Like, he enjoys this.
A scathing tirade against the league and officiating. This is part of it, a toned-down version.
It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. When you sit there, I do this. I mean, you can't do anything. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad how this league has turned out to be. You know, David Stern's got all these Referees and the girls got these referees wearing diapers. They can't be mans themselves and make a call and stand up for themselves. I can't believe that.
Well, Dennis also talks about David Thorne, which I guess is a hybrid between David Stern and Rod Thorne. It doesn't matter because they're both probably going to call him with fines.
Let's be super literal.
He's got a little pressure on him from all over, isn't he?
Yeah, he does, and he may have a point about getting a quick tease, but Michael Jordan questioned his motivation yesterday. He said a couple of power forwards, he said...
Yeah, that doesn't help, man. If the best player doesn't have your back in these situations, so let's have the media just go all in on Dennis, I guess.
He just wants him to be as good as he can be and win another championship.
Rodman, intense and out of control. You young players, remember, keep your cool, pause for points. Okay? Into last place. Dennis Rodman with purple hair. Tribute to the late Cesar Romero. He gets on Eldon Campbell. He had to be chased by the ref, restrained, and then tossed out. He wasn't around to see this. What a shot. Quarter, some taunting going on. Rodman going, gone. Double trouble, double tech. Stacey King, Dennis Rodman exchanging words. And Rodman with a little bit of a headbutt, and King, takes a shot at him. Rodman says, no problem, I'm innocent. They both get ejected. The Worm beats up on a computer. Meanwhile, the Spurs getting beat inside.
Bit of on-court battery from the Spurs-Bulls game Saturday night. Stacey King's running into an enraged Dennis Rodman. The man with the rust-colored hair then surprises everybody, including King retaliates.
I seen that.
Hands to the face. Results, Rodman's fined $7,500.
That was a sneaky headbutt by Rodman. Rodman, Dennis Rodman.
And a one-game suspension for his response with the headbutt to the headbutt.
Wait a
little frustration for the Worm. Call for the flagrant foul, and he nearly hit Jones.
Like you ever fought a person. Then stop acting like that, bro. You probably don't like your coach, and that's why you're doing this, but...
Check out Rodman, knocking the ball out. Spurs lead is 5.
Is there anything that you want more than a rebound? I like
Peter Vessi.
Among the dinosaurs underneath there. I like to bump heads with the bulls that's running in Rome and things like that.
The thing with Rodman, bro, like he was something else in Detroit, right? Like he started going into the weight room, and that's why he's able to defend guys like Shaq. But it definitely took a little bit away from his overall agility, man. Yeah, he was running the floor crazy back in the day.
Naval, I have colored hair, I got tattoos, I got this and I got that. But it doesn't change the way I am inside. You know, I don't want no publicity. I don't want to be a superstar. I don't want to be a star.
Okay, guy. That's a lie. That's a lie. I did probably that's what you want in the game, but you also fell in love with this dumb shit, man. Why you a shy guy that caught on to like the fancies, you know, the fancies of fame.
No reason. I hear a lot of players. I hear it. They say, man, don't you ever stop to just take a break? No, man. I'm gonna kick your butt.
An incident here with John Stockton. Stockton suffering a bruise to his
I'm
thigh
in here.
From Rodman, but that did precede his second technical of the game and his ejection. Dennis Rodman and the Spurs arrived in Salt Lake City this evening, and I spoke with Rodman about a half hour ago. Dennis, in your mind, do you deserve the one-game suspension and the $10,000 fine the NBA has handed down?
I don't think so. I just think that I'm me, and I'm gonna do what Dennis Rodman's gonna do, and that's just the way it is.
Did Dennis Rodman cross the line over the weekend against Utah with the Karl Malone situation, the Tom Chambers undercut, the John Stockton knee?
Hey, Ernie, let me tell you something. There's a lot worse things has happened in the NBA this year, besides them pinpointing one thing that I've done in a game.
Exactly.
That I deliberately.
Fuck Ernie. How about that?
Stockton. Why are they pinpointing the things that I do in a game? What about some things that people do in a game? The hard fouls, the pick and roll, the going up and getting hit. What about those things? Do they count at all?
I'm not.
I just want to know that.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other hard fouls going on and flagrants going on in other series, but still
Listen to
the matter at hand. Do you see their point?
Listen to that, bro. Fuck Ernie. Just another guy. There's another guy trying to judge. You know what I mean? I know people are doing their jobs, but at the same time, like I've caught on to Ernie. You know, just because he's been around the brothers for the last 20 years, like we know where he started, right? Elevator, earning it up. Now trying to be half black and shit. Just who gave him that? Yeah. Oh yeah, Ernie has such a way with hosting. that we are accepting guys like Josiah Johnson as hosts, you know? He's the Black Ernie. Like, we just gotta say things often enough and they become true, right? Like, this guy has, I guess, the handle on things. I don't even think fucking Ernie has I guess he does. Who knows, man? But does that make him our uncle now? Your favorite sports uncle? You just buy into shit, don't you?
In the flagrant
Can I be your auntie?
I mean, was that
give me your money.
That's clean basketball. I didn't deliberately do that. I mean, they saying that I went under
Favorite sports auntie, give me your money.
You know, I don't think I accidentally, I didn't do that. I just, you know, he went up.
You know what I love also? Dennis trying to be like, to win an intellectual, I don't know. They just
I'm not a dirty player. I'm a hard worker.
jousting
I go out there and try to kick ass, and basically that's it.
with white people. It's not gonna work out.
And hit John Stockton in his leg. No,
Good for you.
they trying to say that I planted it, looked down at my knee, looked at his knee precisely when he stepped with that right foot. Boom! Then I stuck my knee out. That ain't the way it happened. He just came down the lane, and I tried to hit him, and I didn't get him. I just hit his leg, basically like that.
How about the impact this is going to have on this team now? You're not going to be there for what can be a pivotal Game 3, and when you do come back for Game 4, do you think the microscope is really going to be on every move you make?
I don't think it'll be on me. I think people are going to say, damn, he's back. Let's try to do something to try to disrupt him. That's not going to happen. I'm going to go out there and put a smile on my face and go out there and grab 20 rebounds. And, hey, if we win, great. If we don't, hopefully that we win the first game. And then the second game, we don't win, we go back to the dome and kick some butt. Basically, that's going to be it.
You know, Dennis, from talking to David Robinson, I know he appreciates the contributions that you bring to the table night in and night out. But do you have to back down a little bit at the risk of hurting this team's playoff chances now?
I'm not backing down from nobody. You know, you look at New York's team. They're a very physical team. They go out there and do it day in and day out. And they look at me and microscope me and say, oh, there's a guy right there. We got to pinpoint him and see what he does. I don't think it's fair that they look at me and say, hey, you're doing something that's not totally right. I think that's unfair. I think that I bring a lot to this game. I think I bring a lot of excitement to this game. I think people like to see the blonde-haired bomber going out there and doing his thing. If they don't like that, I look at it like this. The game of basketball, there are men are men, and the sheep run like hell. That's why I look at it.
You know, last year at this time, Dennis Rodman did the dude Demolition Man style. This year, fuchsia is fashionable. But it's the same old Dennis. The Spurs suspending Rodman indefinitely without pay for conduct detrimental to the team. Bob Hill, the coach, announcing the suspension after practice this morning. Just 3 days ago, Rodman and Hill had a meeting where both parties seemed to reach an understanding on Rodman's behavior and his role on the team. Robinson had 29 on the night against Charlotte. Rodman arguing with the officials, gets a technical, and then he gets a second tee. It's $500 per pop this year. Robinson says Dennis knows the deal this year.
The key ingredient is that Dennis can't be an individual. You know, he has to play with us, and I think that that's been explained to him enough. So, you know, what more can you say, really? You know, it's time for him to show us and show us that he wants to do what we're trying to accomplish.
Enough said, David. Here's a look at Rodman's rap sheet. With the exception of holdouts, can you ever think of a time when a player was suspended without pay before the season even started? The Spurs are sending a message, that's for sure.
So to speak.